that you should actually soak it in the surgical tray with the sterile saline. Then accordingly, when your assistant actually tries to sterilize this, they can actually clean this much better. That being said, it's also very much important. What I recommend when you do the sales, then try to let doctor take a photo of this, because most often assistant don't know where to put the drill piece back. So if you take a photo in a high quality and then just attach in your clinic, then your assistant can do easier work with the less mistake. Now, there is a bottom portion. You can see there's a cortical drill. This drill is actually there to try to remove the cortical portion of the osteotomy, because we are always trying to engage the implant with the higher torque by engaging the bottom, I would say 20% of the implant fixture to the osteotomy. But when there's over torque and the cortical portion, then we can actually remove some of the cortical portion without having to increase over torque. Like without increase the torque too much, then we can actually make the implant surgery even more predictable. So, but you seldom use this drill. Usually you can just use all this taper drill. The one thing you have to know, this is gonna be one of the most often questions you're gonna get from the doctor, is also the fact that all this taper drill, you can see that there's a step. Unlike an encoding drill up to 2.2 and 3.0 drill, you can see that this one has a step. So this is an amazing thing about the Hiossen. Remember, like in the beginning, I was telling you, after you use a lens drill, if you use a 2.2 and then if the angulation position is wrong, then we should be you should be able to correct the angulation and position by using a cycling drill or Linderman drill. But when it comes to the taper drill, it also acts like a cycling drill. So when the doctor goes in and start changing the angulation, it's definitely like most efficient in terms of cutting and change angulation. So unlike a Straumann or like even Megagen, when there is usually only the encoding drill like a 2.2 or 3.0, when you make a wrong angulation that it's really hard to change angle, this one is always possible to change the angle any way you want by placing a little bit harder towards the area that you want to change the angle to. Other than that, also you can, if you look at this kit, this also contains both surgical and poster portion. You can see that it already has a torque wrench with a measure. Always train the doctor with how to utilize this number 10, 20, 30. So when you use a torque wrench, they're not supposed to use this hand, but when they go insert, like torquing in, when they torque out, they can use this handle. When you torque in, try to avoid touch this handle. You're gonna always try to use this handle so that you can actually see the live torque. Many times on these days, surgical handpiece itself can also measure the torque, but this is something I think every doctor should learn, so that when they actually insert, they know like torque. One thing you have to know is you actually have a mount driver. So this is actually very advantageous for doctors who do a freehand like me. Most of the case, then you can actually engage the mount into the mount driver in the handpiece. You can actually control the angulation much better. Now, lastly, what I want to talk about for those doctor who's a little bit like intermediate, a little bit more advanced, you can use immediate implant placement. Once again, you can use a surgical guide, or if you do freehand more like me, then you can definitely utilize this cycling drill. If you look carefully, there's a 2.0 and 3.0. 2.0 is what I definitely recommend if you do anterior implant, whether you do 3.5 millimeter diameter fixture or a 4.0. Usually we don't place 4.5 on the anterior unless you are doing an implant on the canine. So if you do the immediate after the extraction, when I say immediate, is extraction followed by the implant placement on the same day, then 2 millimeter diameter as a lens drill is the best. For the back tooth, so I'm talking about like 3.6, 3.7 on the molar instead of a premolar area, then I'll actually use this on the fruit bone. Knowing that all the socket is still aligned by the cortical bone, if you use this drill, you can use it. There's nothing wrong with this, but if you use this, you probably have to widen the osteotomy. When you do so, it can actually annihilate the adjacent bone, versus if you actually mark with something like a lens ray in the cortical bone of where the fixation happened, and then you just go in into one shot, and this is a very much useful drill. You can definitely minimize the time, like intraoperative time. Always instruct the doctor to utilize this safe and probe, implant probe, and then whenever you have to talk to the doctor, recommend doctors remember all this measure. 7, 8.5, 10, 11.5, 13, 15. This is a must because you can tell the doctors that this is designed exactly the same. You can see 7, 8.5, and 10, and 11.5. So this is a very, very easy kit to use as a beginner or either intermediate or advanced. But especially for the beginner, this is extremely user-friendly.